Hello, I would like to thank you once again for visiting my channel. This is Pick 3 Statistical Categories, and today we're going to talk about monthly column reading, and this is part 2. If you've seen the video on part 1, you know we went into detail with the column reading for the state of Florida, the month of January, and this year of 2018. For part 2, we're going to stick with the same state, month, and year. Okay, this information that I'm giving you, along with the workbook, if you've seen the video on the workbook, also the columns, all these are tools that are going to help you pinpoint exactly which combinations are going to play. The same tools that I'm giving you are the same tools that I use along with my workouts and my strategies. And these tools allow me to hit pick 3 on a monthly basis more than a dozen times. And I know that it will do the same for you regardless of whatever state that you live in. Okay. Also, I've been getting a lot of requests for people that want me to give forecasts, monthly forecasts of what combinations are going to play for their state. I will start that next month. I will do videos on that. The combinations that I give you for your state, I recommend that you allow these combinations to manifest for at least 10 days. Give it at least 10 days, and we'll see how it goes from there. Also, at this time, I would like to give a shout out to Miss Augustus from Texas, who's been using this strategy as far as the workbook and also the column reading. It allowed her to hit on one day on 3 separate drawings in one day. So I just want to congratulate her and thank her for using this information, these tools that will help you, and for taking advantage of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into part 2 of column reading. Okay, when conducting monthly column reading, you need to have patience, okay? And I know I stressed that in part 1, that you need to have patience. Allow for these columns to develop a pattern the first half of each month, okay? Especially if you're new to this, okay? If you've already been doing this, then you know what to look for, okay? We're going to go into that also. If you allow 13 days to go by, that gives you a total of 26 drawings, okay? Out of those 26 drawings, it gives each and every column to play at least one time, okay? And that's what we want to see, at least for each column to play one time. I know some states, you have more than 2 drawings, Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia. Basically, it's much easier for your states because once you get down to the last 2 remaining columns, you pretty know which direction to go. Okay, so I say give it 13 days, 26 drawings, and by doing this, you develop stats. Okay, and the stats will tell you which columns are the hottest, which columns are the coldest, which columns repeat, back to back, and which columns have not played at all. Okay, which is very important for the remaining part of the month. Okay. Some columns will play right along with the date sum or the mirror of the date sum. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say today was January the 4th. Okay, so we already know that our date sum would be 5 or the mirror of that would be 0. Sometimes, depending on that day, that combination will come exactly from that column. Okay, it may not necessarily have the date sum in it. It may not necessarily have the mirror of the date sum in it, but that combination came from that column for that specific day of the month. That happens a lot also. That's why it's very important to watch the pattern, keep tracks of the pattern on which columns that play throughout the month. Okay. Now, one of the easiest methods you can use if you don't feel like doing a workout or any strategies, you could just take the date sum and run that date sum through whichever column you choose. So if you know which column is the hottest right now, which one is the coldest, just take the date sum and run it through that column. And usually there's only 5 combinations for each number in every column except for the number 0. Okay, so that minimizes your choices also. Okay. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go through the month of January 2018 and see the pattern of how the columns played. Okay, now from the first part 1, we separated the mid and even drawings of which columns that played. For part 2, we're going to combine the drawings into one. Okay, so on the left hand side, the number that's highlighted represents the exact day of the month. Okay, so for example, that's the first, and the columns that played on the first was the 6 column and the 9 column. Okay, for the 2nd of January, we can see that the 9 column played and the 4 column played. Okay, so let's go down through the month all the way to the 13th, which will give us 26 drawings. You might already see a pattern. Okay, but let's just go down to the 13th, and when we get there, we will have a well enough stat sheet built together, enough information to let us know how the forecast is going to be for the remaining part of the month. And this works for every month, and this works for every state. Okay. Okay, so 26 drawings have passed. We know which columns have played. So let's see what our stats look like. Okay, column 5 did not play at all. Okay, throughout those 26 drawings. That is very important. Okay, columns 1, 2, and 8 only played one time. Okay, column 0 played 2 times. Okay, what usually happens, whichever columns are the weakest columns at the beginning of the month usually are the strongest columns at the end of the month. Okay, that is very important. A lot of people miss that. A lot of people don't understand why certain combinations are playing, why certain numbers are playing. This is one of the main reasons why. Okay, now I want to say this now. If a column or columns do not play at all for an entire month or only played one time, those are the main primary columns that you need to look for starting the next month. Okay, I cannot tell you how many times I hit on the first day of each month, basically because I knew which columns were the weakest from the month before. Okay, that is very important, and a lot of people miss that. Okay, so we know that even columns played 14 times and the odd columns played 12 times through that first half of January. What usually happens, whatever columns, whether they're even columns or odd columns, whichever columns are leading at the beginning of the month, more than likely they finish the strongest towards the end of the month. Okay. Now we know which columns that were weak at the beginning of January. So we need to see how the remaining part of that month played out. Okay. So let's check this out. Whatever number is highlighted in green, those were the weak columns from the beginning month of January. Okay, so as you can see on the 14th, you can see what column played. Like I said before, this happens every month. A lot of people don't even realize it. This happens in your state, your country. It happens because this is how they rotate the combinations. Okay, so now we've come to the end of the month. So let's see an overall stat of how those weak columns played out at the end of the month. Okay, column 5 played 6 times. Okay. Column 8 and column 0 played 5 times. Column 2 played 4 times. And column 1 played 3 times. After the 13th, okay? All those columns played for a total of 23 times. They played half of the remaining part of the month of January. That is huge, because if you're doing your workouts or you're using your systems and you see certain combinations from those weak columns, you know that you're on the right track, okay? Because more than likely, those are the combinations that you're going to see the most. Okay, even columns played 32 times overall, odd columns played 30. So even columns led the month, okay? This information, if you keep track of it, you use your workbook, you watch the pattern of the columns, it will minimize your choices as far as what combinations to play, okay? All this information is tools, it's facts. The facts are the truth, and that's what you need in this game, okay? If you would like for me to do your state for column reading part 3, just leave a comment in the section below, and I will be more than happy to do that for you, because I have more information that I would like to give you concerning column reading. Also, if you found this information to be helpful, if possible, if you can hit that like button, and also share this information with others that play Pick 3. If you think this information isn't for you or you're not interested, pass it on to somebody that you think might could take advantage of this. Okay? Also, I want you to remember that it's always better to give than receive. And also, the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay? So hit that subscribe button for me. Take care, everybody.